Hey guys, inspired by Aaron Pynn, and if Pynn, and if you're not subscribed to his channel, you ought to be. I want to do a video on essential Blu-rays for, I'm going to say, most people's collection. They should have it. Now, in some cases, it may be a little pricey, but I'm still going to say that most people, especially if they're fans of the genre or certainly the series, if it's television, or the movie, if it's a movie, should have it in their collection on Blu-ray. And I'm going to start with, for my money, is one of the greatest movies of all time, and quite the cliche, probably, because it's on most critics' list as such, or right up there anyway. I'm going to start with Citizen Kane. I have the 70th anniversary edition, which happened to come with the magnificent Ambersons. Right there, another Orson Welles film. In fact, the next one he did after this one. What can be said about Citizen Kane that hasn't been said already? It's a classic. I'm playing around with the camera here. It is a masterpiece. It was a movie first in a lot of ways. A lot of the techniques that were used here, it was the first time they were used, or the first time they were used well. It was a first because it was one of the first times that a studio ever gave almost total control to a director. In fact, I would say total control to the director. It was Orson Welles' first movie. He'd been known as a radio star, the War of the Worlds parody, or whatever you want to call it, the radio show that people took for it wasn't really a parody. People took it for a real news broadcast because it was so realistic sounding, and people who missed the setup for it thought they were actually being invaded. Anyway, Citizen Kane, the set comes with all sorts of goodies here. Hardcover, a lot of letters and things about the reprints about the film, and then a beautiful digipack type situation here. So you've got 3 discs with it. Hardcover book, different posters, reproductions. Really nice. Also comes with the movie RKO 281, sorry, 281, which dealt with the plot to not let this be published, and why, or not let it be released, and why. So there it is, Orson Welles, Citizen Kane, 70th anniversary. I would say either get that, or, the poor man's version, which isn't a bad version, by the way, and I own both. It's one of the few things I've double dipped on. Orson Welles this way on the Digibook. I like both of them. If you're looking to save space, get the Digibook. If you're looking for the full treatment, and I may sell one of them eventually. I'll probably keep the 70th anniversary one. Depends on how space goes. Okay, next up, we're talking Blu-rays here, folks. So the next one I want to recommend that I think should be in everybody's collection. I am not, here's some irony for you. I am not a huge fan of horror. Pause for the gasp out there. You'll notice I don't have a ton of horror Blu-rays or DVDs, but I like certain genres. And when I like a genre or a style, I like it quite a bit. I like The Exorcist. It scares the hell out of me still. I like Jaws. Let's call that a horror movie for now. I like ones that are either based in realism or and I mean everyday type realism, like you could come across a shark, for instance. The Exorcist, well, I don't know, we can debate that one. Or I like the classic horrors, and that's where I'm going with this one. This is the Universal Monsters Essential Collection, 8 original horror classics in high def. You've got Dracula, as well as the Spanish Dracula, which is classic. Same. They shot it at night after the crew with Boris Karloff on my mind. Bela Lugosi finished. They went ahead and shot again with a Spanish Dracula, and actually it's a really good movie. So that's worth watching. Of course, you've got Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein to me is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Just a classic to watch. You've got The Mummy, and I'm a big fan of the original Mummy movies with Boris Karloff. The Invisible Man, which I enjoy. You've got Phantom of the Opera, which the one with Claude Rains. I prefer the one with Lon Chaney, but it's still good. And the Wolfman to me is just a great movie with Lon Chaney Jr. in it. classic stuff. This happens to be the British version, but it plays on the without any sort of special stuff. And I like the fact that it came with all these cards here, these poster reproductions. Comes with a nice book, and it folds out as opposed to the one from the U.S., which is more money, and the movies are the same. So I like this one. I like this one quite a bit, and I think it should be in everybody's collection. By the way, I'm not going to repeat ones that Aaron had in his video, because although I would agree with, for instance, Indiana Jones, I'm not going to duplicate it, because I feel like I can add something different to the mix than what Aaron had. But I think between our two videos, if you watch Aaron Pins, that's AARON space PYNN. If you watch his video and mine, I think you'll come away with quite a few that are really classic that everybody should have. He's got a couple ones that I'm not going to say they're obscure, but they're really cool, and they're well worth checking out. I'm going to try to go more mainstream for the most part, although I'm not going to promise that. May throw a curve or two in here. This one's certainly not a curve, though. This one is Amadeus, the director's cut. I had this movie. This movie came out on DVD, and it was just a not good picture quality. It's a brilliant movie. Of course, it tells the story in a dramatic fashion of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Now, they could have called it Mozart, or they could have called it Salieri, but they called it Amadeus, which I believe is something like inspired by God, or something like that. I can't remember. Deus is God. I can't remember what Ama is. But it's something like that. And they chose this title, I'm sure, for a reason. This is directed by Milos Forman, I believe. It's the director's cut. This is the winner of 8 Academy Awards, including the Best Picture. And it well deserves it. These are just brilliant performances from F. Murray Abraham and Tom Hulse, who formerly was just in what was that called? Oh, Animal House, I think was his big credit before that. But what a brilliant actor in this to play Amadeus. And there's F. Murray Abraham as Salieri. Salieri, this is a movie about Salieri versus God, first of all, and then Salieri kind of taking his revenge on God out on Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It's fictional. This didn't happen, folks. But yet, what a brilliant storytelling. What a brilliant fictional movie based upon the actual life of Mozart with some beautiful music in it. Highly, highly recommended. The Digibook's got some beautiful pictures in it. Beautiful artwork. It's they portray Mozart as kind of a buffoon in a way, this child with this genius in him, and here's Salieri, the older, wiser, court composer who just is overshadowed by this brilliance, and how he has to take it out on someone, and it's Mozart. I'm not going to ruin the story in case by some bizarre reason you haven't seen it, but my goodness, you should. You should see it. Now, here's a no-brainer to me. I don't care if you've got children or not. I really don't care if you like music or not. Hopefully most people like music. But to me, this has got to be in everybody's collection. If you like music or if you have children, you've got to have The Sound of Music. Come on. Rodgers and Hammerstein, Sound of Music, very rewatchable show. The songs are, in everybody's head. It doesn't take much to know them. Classic Julie Andrews, for my money, along with perhaps Linda Ronstadt and maybe some opera singers. She had just one of the most unique voices. I think her range was second to none. It's just a shame that her vocal cords have gone through what they've gone through. But how can you not like The Sound of Music? This is a limited edition. I picked it up for like $13 at Best Buy. It was mislabeled. It's supposed to be like $20. But again, just a brilliant Blu-ray, and I think it should be in everybody's collection. It's in mine. Is it in yours? Anyway, that is, to my mind, just something that's got to be in everybody's collection. And why not? Now, I'm going to get a little bit pricier here. So far, I've been showing you stuff that, for the most part, the Monsters one is a little pricey, but if you go through the UK, I think you can get it for like 40 bucks, I think. But this one, not so much. But still, if you're a fan of this genre, or certainly this show, man, this is, in my mind, a no-brainer. But save your pennies, because it's not cheap. And that is the Twilight Zone, the complete series. Rod Serling, some great extras on this. Just a brilliant show. These are brilliant, wonderful, amazing-looking remasters in HD of the Twilight Zone. They look really sharp. I would say almost 100% of them. Just really good stuff, and really hard to beat. It's I would say it's something that should be in everybody's collection if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, and if you can afford it, because it's not cheap. But you've got 5, 9, 14, 24 DVDs here in a five cases to hold all those. So 24 Blu-rays. Amazing stuff, though. Tons of extras on these. Audio commentaries from a lot of people, interviews, a bunch of Rod Serling audio lectures, which are priceless. Really cool stuff. Original unaired pilot version of Where Is Everybody, and a rare, unofficial pilot episode called The Time Element, which is an amazing story which had been unavailable for years. I picked this up for about $140 and didn't look back. I've never regretted it. You could tell me it's on sale for $10 and I still wouldn't regret what I paid for it. Very, very happy with that, and I would suggest that if you can afford it and if you have the least interest in the Twilight Zone, man, pick that one up. It gets my highest recommendation for a box set Blu-ray. Now, next, Aaron had, and I don't disagree at all, I would certainly put Alfred Hitchcock's masterpiece collection of Blu-rays in something that belongs to everybody's set collection. But, here's another one that I think does too. For all the reasons that the Hitchcock set should be in your collection, so should this one. This one's also not cheap, but really nice. Nicely done. In fact, I like it better than the Hitchcock box as far as how it's packaged. And that is the Stanley Kubrick limited edition collection, which includes Spartacus, Lolita, Doctor Strangelove, or How I Won the War, How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. 2001, A Space Odyssey, certainly Henry's list of classics. A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, which is underrated and amazing. The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and another underrated movie, in my opinion, Eyes Wide Shut, with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Great stuff, great movies. Get 9 movies, if I counted right. Yeah, 9 movies in this set. It's just a really cool set. It's got a really nice hardcover book, which highlights each of the movies. A little bit of print and picture on each one. I'm not going to do all that. And then you've got a really nice case to hold them all in, I think. Really stays together nicely. And let's see if you can see this. An idea here what they're like. They slip out of here. And they slip out pretty easily too and go back in easily, so you're not going to have to worry about scratching them up. I've never had a problem with it, and I've put them in and out of here plenty of times. So, Stanley Kubrick limited edition collection. I don't know what this goes for anymore. I haven't seen it on the shelves lately. I think it's still in print. It's just probably nothing that you see out in the stores all that often. Love it, though. Watched all those movies numerous times, and they are fantastic. Now, it wouldn't be right to end this without something from the Criterion Collection, and oh my goodness, couldn't I choose a bunch? Oh, I'm going to slide one more in here before I get to the Criterion one. And that is this one. And I think this is an amazing collection. I'm a huge fan of this director. I think he's an underrated director, in my opinion. And that is Clint Eastwood. This is the 20-film collection on Blu-ray. Amazing, amazing collection. Hardcover, another beautiful digipack. Got a ton of great movies in here. And, Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, Outlaw Josie Wales, The Gauntlet, Every Which Way But Loose, Firefox, Sudden Impact, Pale Rider, Heartbreak Ridge, Unforgiven, A Perfect World, Space Cowboys, Mystic River, love it, $1 Million Baby, love it, Letters from Iwo Jima, Gran Torino, Invictus, Hereafter, J. Edgar, and Trouble with the Curve. Woo! What a set. And lastly, I'm going to finish up with one that I think should be in everybody's collection. I'm going to go simple here, guys, and that is Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. It's brilliant.